Today I'm just going to give you some quick tips on how to paper mache your project so that it does not fall apart. When you're paper macheing, you want to rip pieces of paper that fit the size of your project. If you're doing a larger size project, you need larger size pieces of paper mache. If you're doing a smaller size, you need smaller size pieces. For this, it's about a medium size project, medium size. You want to put enough of this glue on here so that your paper is wet, but that it's not dripping. So I dipped my paper mache in the glue. It's like hair gel. That's what it feels like. And I squeegeed off with my fingers. If you are really that person who can't handle paper mache because of like the texture consistency grosses you out, you can do a paintbrush. It just takes a lot longer, and honestly, it works better when you use your hands. So what you want to do is use the paper mache almost like how you would use tape to hold things together, and start on your edges and corners and smooth each piece down. You don't want to do one side at a time. Sometimes we think that makes sense to be logical and like finish a side and then do another side, do another side. But if you do too much on one side and then not the other, it's going to collapse. So when you paper mache, you want to keep it moving. You put a piece down and then spin it, put another piece down, spin it, so that you're paper macheing the whole thing evenly so it dries evenly. You only can do about one layer at a time. If I did too many layers at a time in one day without giving it time to dry in between, what would happen to my project?
It'd be weird. Fall apart.
Yeah, it would collapse because paper is just paper, right? It gets wet and flimsy. So you really need to make sure that you're giving it dry time in between. So what I'm doing on this project, right? Do you see what I'm doing? I'm just doing one layer at a time and moving it. Eventually you want to cover the whole entire thing, but the first layer I'm doing, I'm really just using this as pieces of tape almost over the edges to help seal those cracks and hold it together. The more layers of paper mache you do, the stronger your project will be. It really is like taking pieces of paper, layering them back up again, and almost turning it back into the tree it came from. It becomes very solid and hard. The last thing I'm going to tell you, and this is super important, when you are done and it's time to clean up, take a dry piece of paper, put your name on it, rip it off, and stick it on your project. I promise you, once these are all paper mached, someone's going to want to take your perfect one without a name on it versus their wrinkly one, that's all messed up or collapsed. Okay, so that's a really important part of labeling, is take at the very end, like this is Sam's, write Sam, stick it on so that we all know it's hers, and then put it back in your assigned area. Okay,